Coming up on Farm Truck Financial, today we're going to talk about one big, beautiful bill. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Farm Truck Financial, where wisdom and wealth ride shotgun. Join Eric Kearney, president of Retirement Wealth Advisors, who believes that the best kind of planning happens when four tires hit the road. So hop in. Today we're talking about investment strategies that drive results.
Farm Truck Financial, we're riding with you.
And welcome back to Farm Truck Financial. And today we have a great guest. I'm super excited to have Donna Krohn, certified financial planner with Retirement Wealth Advisors. Hello, Donna.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy that you're here.
Finally.
I know that you're super busy, like we yank you away from your office, but you really are the inner workings of the financial planning department as a certified financial planner. So today we're going to be going over one beautiful big bill, among other things. But the thing is that people hyper-focus on one beautiful big bill, but they're not really focusing on their personal finances when it comes to financial planning. Let's talk about why that's so crucial.
You know, Eric, in the last, let's say 5 years, we've had a lot of changes. We've had the Secure Act, the Secure Act 2.0.
Yeah.
We've had now the one big, beautiful bill and a lot of other things, you know, COVID, inflation. We've had a lot of things happen along the way.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people fail to realize, they get hyper focused on one aspect of, you know, their financial picture.
Yeah.
Like Social Security. When should I take Social Security? Should I take it now? Should I wait? Should I wait? You know, and they get hyper focused on one aspect, but they neglect all the others. And then you have these outside forces, like we mentioned, the Secure Act, inflation, you know, policy changes.
Right.
As well as market fluctuations.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's that.
Yeah. There's also that. And you have all these outside forces, and all of it has an impact on all the different aspects of your financial life. Yeah. And I think the beauty and the art, if you will, and the science of financial planning is to be able to take all of those pieces, all of the outside influences, and be able to paint a picture of like, this is what it's really looking like. Yeah. And once we do that, then the next steps forward become much, much clearer, as well as the options, because a lot of times it's not one thing, you know, one path forward.
Right.
For a lot of people, we reveal 3 or 4 different options that they have to move forward that just makes that picture come together even better.
Yeah, and it's their own picture. So what we're doing is that we are looking through financial planning, your actual economy, not the world's economy, but your personal economy. And so the crazy thing about one beautiful big bill is now everybody's like, what does this have to do with me? Well, let's face it, and let's be honest out there. We still don't know anything about the Secure Act. And then the Secure Act 2.0 comes out, and we're not still concentrating on that either. It's like we're looking at very top level things like, oh, required minimum distributions. Now that's raised up. Good. But we're not looking at the inner workings of this, and we're not really paying attention to what does this have to do with my real personal economy. So this is where financial planning gets so crucial.
Yeah, and it's human nature for people to focus on what's right in front of them. Right. And I share that with a lot of clients that I work with. Like, that's your human nature, right? We don't need to fight against that. What we need to do is work with that, right? So if that's what gets you to speak to a financial professional, your concern over one aspect of your finances, great. That's what gets you in the door. Yeah. But the rubber really meets the road when you're working with a financial professional, especially a CFP, who can put all these pieces togeters for you.
Yeah.
You know?
The funny thing is that when we teach the classes, we teach them at FSW, FGCU, people will come up to me after the class, and we just went through the whole entire class, and they say, Eric, I just have one question. I hope to God you just don't have one question about retirement. And I'm being serious about that. Like, we like to have a good time on the show, but it also is about a very serious subject. It's about your retirement, which is a transition that could last 25 to 30 years. So really, when people say, I only have one question, I really hope you don't, because it is a set of ongoing questions. And that's really what financial planning reveals is, what is your next question? But more importantly, how can we actually answer that?
This, to me, is where the magic of financial planning is realized,
Yeah.
right? When you see that kind of light go off and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know about this. I didn't even know this was an
Right.
option. I didn't even know this existed.
Right.
Not much, much less that this might be the appropriate next action for me to take.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the magic of all this really comes together.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say magic because honestly, the financial magic that a lot of people are looking for is often in the work that you're avoiding, right? So coming up next, we are going to go over one big, beautiful bill. Stay tuned. We get a lot more information.
Do you have questions and concerns about your money, lifestyle, and retirement? Like so many, investors today worry about living expenses, healthcare costs, inflation, and stock market volatility. Instead of worrying, start planning. Eric Kearney and his team at Retirement Wealth Advisors want to sit down, get to know you, and start to build a plan that matches your vision and goals. Let's have a real conversation about what's important to you and how we get there. We'll help build you a plan based on your goals, lifestyle, and income needs, with financial clarity over complexity. Call us today for a farm fresh second opinion. Remember, you only retire once, so let's get it right the first time.
And welcome back to Farm Truck Financial. We are having a great conversation on the big, beautiful bill. So, Donna, let's continue this. And again, it's a huge subject. People still have a lot of questions. Let's look at an overview of the big, beautiful bill.
Great. So what's in the big, beautiful bill? And I think a lot of people are asking, what does that mean to me?
Right.
So we're going to start with tax deductions. There are tax deductions now called a senior tax deduction, which we'll talk a little bit more about. There's also tax deductions for tipped income employees, as well as employees who earn overtime. In addition to that, we are losing some tax credits, specifically for clean energy. So this is going to apply to the tax credits that we had for buying electric vehicles or making energy efficient improvements to your home.
Shout out to my girl, Lisa. She picked up her EV car before the tax credits went away, so she grabbed that.
Oh,
So,
good,
yeah.
good for her. But the energy efficiency, like when you're making your home more energy efficient, like adding solar or replacing appliances, those tax credits are being phased out or going away altogether.
Okay.
There is also the creation of minor accounts referred to right now as Trump accounts, but it is a pilot program not due to roll out until July of 2026. There's a lot of details around that that have yet to be worked out.
I definitely want to talk about the Trump accounts. Let's talk about Social Security because I do believe that Social Security is always top of mind with our retirees and even pre-retirees. So how does this really affect Social Security right now?
Okay, so there's a common misconception because before this bill was passed, a lot of folks were saying Social Security is not going to be taxed. It's not going to be taxed. And I think a lot of people have started to figure out that's simply not true.
Right.
The process that Congress used to pass this particular piece of legislation is called a reconciliation process. And it doesn't allow them to just arbitrarily remove taxes from different sources of income.
Right.
So they created a workaround in the form of a tax deduction. It's called the senior deduction. And there are some qualifications in order to qualify for it. Now, the first distinction I want to make is that this is a below the line deduction. So if anybody's ever done their taxes, there is a difference between above the line deduction, which will reduce your adjusted gross income or your AGI. Your AGI is used to determine your tax bracket, your Medicare tier, and a few other things. So that AGI is really important. But this is a below the line reduction or tax deduction. It actually gets added to your standard deduction, which for some people who qualify, especially for a couple, it could push their standard deduction up to about $44,000 or $45,000, which is significant, but it doesn't reduce their AGI, it reduces their taxable income. So there is a big distinction there to make. The next thing is that there's qualifications for it, right? It doesn't apply to everybody. So the first qualification is you have to be 65 or older, right? Regardless of whether or not you're starting Social Security or not. So 65 or older. And if you are a single person, your income has to be below $75,000. Your adjusted gross income has to be below $75,000. Or for a couple filing married joint, your income has to be below $150,000. Now, there is a phase out that goes to about $100,000 if you're single and about $200,000 if you are a couple filing married joint, which means you'll get something, but at a reduction. It won't be the $6,000 per person.
Okay, so let's break it down real easily. So everybody, this is why we do financial planning. Look, I promised you in the beginning, we created Farm Truck Financial to be jargon-free, right? Less technical. But there's sometimes when it comes to your finances, you have to get technical.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
Right. And so like everything that Donna went through, like this is how analytic she is, but you can also appreciate that this is the hard work that we're actually putting in. So every pre-retiree, every post-retiree needs 5 things: a financial plan, an income plan, the tax plan, a strong portfolio that is managed, monitored, and maintained, and also concierge service. These are all the things that are going in because we are already anticipating issues and changes that come across every single administration. We don't get political. Let's face it, administrations come and go, and so do policies. So with policy changes, investments change, tax planning changes, income planning changes, but these are all the things that we have to really work for. This is literally why we have Donna in the Certified Financial Planning Department taking care of this. Coming up next, why there is not enough Americans that actually have a financial plan and how we plan on fixing that. Stay tuned.
You know who has one of the toughest retirements? Procrastinators. You keep telling yourself, yeah, I'm going to get to that. But after months turn into years, you realize that time is one investment you can't buy back. The earlier you start, the longer your money works for you. Stop letting someday steal your future. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Don't let procrastination be the reason you work longer and retire smaller. Call us today for a complimentary review of your finances. And remember, you only retire once. So let's get it right the first time.
And welcome back to Farm Truck Financial. We are having a great conversation today about the big, beautiful bill and also financial planning. What is crazy, Donna, is Southern and Western just did a study, and only 33% of Americans that are pre-retired have a financial plan. Only 33%. That seems awful low to me.
It is low, Eric. It is. And I think a lot of that is due to just a lack of education of the public in general.
Right.
Right. Financial planning has really come up in the last, say, 20, 30 years, right? Definitely has increased in popularity. I'm sure if we went back 10 or 20 years ago, that number would have been well below 33% too.
Right.
We're still not quite there yet, right? And a lot of that has to do with the public not being informed of what's available to them and what planners actually do, right? So we're not just answering that question, can I retire or when can I retire?
Right.
We're answering a whole host of questions around, well, what are my taxes going to look like? Should I take option A or option B?
Right.
When should I start my Social Security? What's going to happen if I need long-term care or my wife needs long-term care? How are we prepared for all of that? So it's a lot more than just answering the when can I retire question.
Right.
There's a lot more that goes into that.
So when people call the office, what they're looking for is they really are looking for that financial infrastructure. And there are 5 things that you need when you go to retire: a financial plan, an income plan, a tax plan, a portfolio, and also concierge service. If they're not doing financial planning, they're certainly not doing income planning, but then they're not doing tax planning. And believe me, tax planning is not the same as tax preparation. What do you have to say about that, Donna?
I agree with you 100%. Tax preparation, the way I describe it to clients is when you go in and you're having your taxes prepared, your CPA or enrolled agent's job is to save you as much money as possible in any given year, whatever year they're looking at, right? But when you're doing tax planning, we're looking at very far into the future. And we're anticipating where there may be changes to policy or tax law so that we can make changes now, take actions now that may have a huge benefit in the future. Roth conversions are an excellent example of that.
So really, when we do planning, we are more proactive instead of reactive. We're not reacting to what's happening now. We're looking down the road and giving that results in advance financial plan and saying, look, here's your tax situation, but this is what we can do. We can plan now to mitigate that. That is the value of having a certified financial planner.
And let me give you an example of that, because we've been talking about the big, beautiful bill. And in the last segment, we talked about how a senior deduction is a below the line deduction.
Right.
So I did a few quick numbers. And if for a couple filing married joint, they have the ability to save roughly $8,000 in taxes over the next 3 years. Because keep in mind, this senior deduction has an expiration date of 2028.
Right.
Now, it's also happening at a time that's really prime for people to do Roth conversions. So a CFP has the ability to evaluate these different tax strategies. So I did a quick evaluation, and in my example, I won't go into details and bore you with the numbers, but at the end of the day, that $8,000 that you would save in taxes over the next 3 years, you will pay almost $16,000 in additional tax throughout your life, later on in life. It's kind of a no-brainer to me.
Absolutely. And look, this is why we focus on financial planning, income planning, and all of this kind of tax planning, because every single year is going to be different. But what we're looking for is the benefit for you down the road. So again, if you have any questions, go to myincomeplan.com. You can actually sign up for a full-blown financial plan. If you're out there in a financial no man's land and you want that second opinion, contact us today. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for riding along with us today. We hope you got some good dirt. If you liked today's show, subscribe, like, and share with all your farm truck friends. We hope you'll join us for the next ride on Farm Truck Financial, where we're always planting seeds for a better future, 1 mile, $1 at a time.
Farm Truck Financial, we're riding with you down the back road steady.